He leaned back in his chair, swirling the wine I bought, and said it with a smirk that cut through the room. She could do way better than you. Silence. You could have heard a pin drop. My friend stiffened, ready to jump across the table. She flushed, eyes darting to her plate. And me? I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because I knew exactly what was happening. For 3 years, I thought I had built something solid with Alana. I carried the weight of trial law by day, the lies, the betrayals, the worst of people, only to come home and breathe when I saw her face. She was brilliant, hungry to climb her way through law school, and I invested everything in her future. Not just money, faith, commitment, us. But sitting across from me was Devin, her so-called best friend, a self-proclaimed artist, living check to check, living off nostalgia and her loyalty. Every chance he got, he found ways to make me the villain. To him, I wasn't exciting enough, not wild enough, just a man who built stability, which he twisted into weakness. That night he crossed the line, and she crossed it with him. For 3 years, life with Alana was the kind of dream people envy. She was sharp, full of ambition, a paralegal grinding toward law school. I admired that fire. Together we were building a future in the home I restored with my own hands. But the static was always there. And that static had a face. Devin, her college best friend. An artist who never seemed to finish anything. The kind of man who bragged about freedom while borrowing money for rent. He was her so-called protector. The shoulder she leaned on when her musician ex broke her heart. Every time he opened his mouth around me, it was a dagger wrapped in velvet. Remember when we went camping? Nothing planned, just pure free spirit. Or, Alana, you need someone who really understands you. I was painted as the safe choice, the dull stability. He was the gatekeeper of her wild past. She ate it up. I swallowed it, patient, waiting. Because in court you never shout first. You wait for the witness to expose themselves. And at that dinner, Devin finally gave me everything I needed. That night should have been a victory. I had just won the biggest case of my career. Months of sleepless nights, missed weekends, sacrifices, and we won. It was the kind of case that cements reputations. So I threw a dinner party. My closest friends, the ones who hadn't seen me in months, filled the house. I told Alana to invite her people too. Of course, Devin showed up, already acting like he co-owned the place. The wine flowed, laughter filled the rooms, and for a brief moment, I allowed myself to relax. Until Devin got loud. He launched into a speech about artists versus suits, staring right at me. Some of us live by passion. Others just chase money. He sipped my wine like he bought it. My friends shot him looks that could kill. I stayed quiet. The lawyer in me knew, don't interrupt, let him talk himself into a corner. Then he turned to Alana, voice dripping with fake concern. He's stable, sure. Reliable. But don't you think you could do better? The rope was finally in my hands. I set my fork down slowly. The room froze. That's a bold claim, Devin. I said, my voice calm but cold. Please explain. What does better look like? Be specific. He blinked, stammered. Someone more on her level. A creative. Someone who gets her. So you, I nodded. You're the gold standard. His chest puffed. I understand her better than anyone. Good, I said. Let's test that. Let's talk investments. I laid out the facts like evidence. Alana's tuition, paid in full by me. The safe car she drove, I bought it. The roof over her head, I maintained it. Meanwhile, Devin borrowed money from her 3 times in 6 months. Money that came from the account I funded. I didn't raise my voice. I just stacked truths like bricks. So your argument is that stability, sacrifice, and faith in her future is inferior to a man who drains her wallet and sabotages her relationship out of obsession. Is that fair? Devin sat pale, speechless. My friends glared at him with disgust. But when I turned to Alana, what I saw wasn't gratitude. It was fury. Alana shoved her chair back, so hard the legs screeched against the floor. I cannot believe you did that, she hissed, eyes blazing at me, not him. You humiliated him. He humiliated himself. I replied quietly. Apologize to him, she snapped. Right now. Or we're done. There it was. The verdict. Not relief that I defended her. Not anger at Devin for disrespecting us both. No, her rage was aimed at me. And she was choosing him. Something inside me broke clean in that moment. Love didn't fade, it was executed. I smiled, not bitter, just final. Then I stood, took my glass, and walked out of the room. The case was closed. That night, Alana stormed out with Devin. By morning, she had moved in with him. I didn't call. I didn't text. For 2 weeks, I went dark. She expected me to crawl back, to beg, to apologize. Instead, I cleaned house. Literally. Every belonging she had, I boxed up. Calm. Methodical. Not anger, closure. Then I changed the locks, reset the codes. And I made 2 calls. The first to her law school's dean. The private scholarship I'd been funding? Terminated. The second to my firm. The internship I'd secured for her, a career-making opportunity? Rescinded. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because the foundation of my support was loyalty. And she shattered it. Actions have consequences. 2 weeks later, I saw her on my security camera. Alana, fumbling with her old key, face twisting when it didn't work. She finally rang the bell. I opened the door with the chain still on. She looked ruined. The fury from that night was gone, replaced by desperation. Living with Devon had carved out her glow. "We need to talk," she whispered. "No, we don't," I said evenly. "You made your choice." Tears welled in her eyes. "It was a mistake. I was angry. Don't throw away 3 years over one fight." "It wasn't a fight," I said. "It was truth. You chose him." Her panic was rising. And I hadn't even told her yet what I had done. A relationship is like a case. There are terms, expectations, and evidence. Alana violated the core clause, loyalty. My actions weren't punishment. They were enforcement. She wanted to know what done really meant. Now she knows. Done means the support ends, the investment stops, and the builder walks away from the ruins you helped burn. If you're enjoying the story, kindly subscribe and turn on the post notification button. After Alana left, I walked through the house alone. Every corner carried her shadow, her books stacked by the bed, her perfume faint in the air. I boxed it all away, but memory doesn't pack up as neatly. There were nights I almost reached for my phone, almost asked if she was eating, if Devon was treating her better. Then I remembered that ultimatum. Apologize or we're over. She hadn't chosen me. She had chosen him. Still, I couldn't lie to myself. I had loved her. I had built with her. I had believed in her. That's the cruelty of betrayal. It poisons even the good memories. But betrayal also teaches. And I was learning fast. Because when someone shows you where their loyalty lies, you don't beg. You don't bargain. You prepare your closing argument. It didn't take long for the reports to trickle in. Friends whispered updates with pity in their voices. Alana was struggling. Without tuition money, law school was gone. The internship was gone. The dream she clung to like armor had shattered. Devon hadn't changed. His music gigs barely covered rent. The charm wore thin when bills piled up and groceries ran low. What once seemed like freedom turned into chains. They argued constantly. She blamed him for her ruined future. He blamed her bitterness. I didn't gloat. There was nothing to celebrate in watching someone I once loved self-destruct. But there was a grim justice in it. Because she hadn't just lost opportunities. She had lost me. The one person who built her foundation while she defended the man who was tearing it down. And the collapse was inevitable. One evening, months later, she showed up again. Same door. Same knock. Her face was thinner, eyes sunken with sleepless nights. Devon wasn't beside her this time. "Please," she whispered when I opened the door. "I made a mistake." Her voice cracked. "You were right about him. About everything. I should have believed in you." I stood silent, letting her words hang in the air. Because I had already given her the verdict. Done means done. Still, some part of me wanted to ask why. Why defend him that night? Why choose humiliation over loyalty? But I didn't. Because I knew the answer. And her tears weren't enough to rewrite history. "Natasha, I'll do anything," she pleaded. "Just help me get back on track. Law school, work, something. Please." I shook my head. "No, I won't carry you anymore." Her lip trembled. "We had plans. A future." "You destroyed it with one sentence," I replied. "Apologize or we're over. You don't get to erase that." She sobbed, pressing her forehead to the doorframe. "I thought he was protecting me. I thought I was doing the right thing. And now you see the truth," I said softly. "But truth has consequences. That's life. That's law." For a moment, I almost felt pity. Almost. Then I remembered the smirk on Devon's face, her rage aimed at me. And I closed the door again. Without her, my home grew quiet but steady. I rebuilt my routines, focused on cases, reconnected with friends. I poured myself into what mattered. The emptiness she left became space for peace. And I realized something. Revenge hadn't healed me. Revenge was never the point. Enforcement was. Because when loyalty is broken, support ends. Investment stops. And the one who built walks away. That's what done really means. I never had to lift a finger against Devon. He was his own destruction. After Alana lost everything, he doubled down on his artist life. But gigs didn't pay the rent, and her bitterness ate at him day and night. To cope, he slipped deeper into the streets, first weed, then pills, then harder. It didn't take long before whispers reached me. Devon was strung out, pawning his equipment, begging people for cash. Then came the headline I'll never forget. Local man arrested in drug bust. His mugshot stared back from the screen. Hollow-eyed. Defeated. The same man who once smirked across my table, telling me I wasn't good enough. Alana stood by him at first, they said, but humiliation piled up. Court dates, eviction notices, jobs lost. She had gambled everything on him, and he cashed it in for nothing. He got the girl, yes. But he also dragged her straight into hell with him. And while his world crumbled in handcuffs and smoke, mine was quiet. Steady. Proof that sometimes the best revenge isn't action. It's patience. The courtroom was packed, the air heavy with whispers. Devon shuffled in wearing an orange jumpsuit, wrists shackled. The man who once claimed to be Alana's protector looked nothing like the smooth talker who humiliated me at dinner. Reporters clicked cameras as the charges were read: possession, distribution, intent. His parents sat stone-faced in the back row, avoiding the stares of neighbors who had come to watch. And Alana? She wasn't beside him this time. She was across town, sitting in a corporate lobby in an outdated suit she'd borrowed. She'd applied for a paralegal position, hoping to salvage what was left of her dream. But fate doesn't forget. The interviewer recognized her name, the intern who lost her offer, the woman who burned bridges at the firm. The meeting ended in 10 minutes flat. By sundown, Devon was behind bars awaiting sentencing. Alana walked home on blistered feet, clutching a rejection letter. Two people who once tried to tear me down, now torn apart in public. I drove out to the coast the next morning, needing air that wasn't heavy with the past. The ocean stretched wide and endless, the waves slamming against rocks like a heartbeat I could finally sync with. For the first time in months, I wasn't replaying old arguments or imagining what I should have said. I wasn't scrolling through Alana's photos or wondering if Devon had one more scheme left in him. That chapter was finished, sealed tighter than the tide pulling secrets out to sea. As I stood barefoot in the sand, the sunrise lit the sky in bruised shades of orange and purple. A new day, a new trial. But this time, it was mine alone to fight. Behind me, their world was crumbling, Devon chained to consequences, Alana drowning in the wreckage of her own choices. Ahead of me was something cleaner, quieter, and real. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt free. Love had betrayed me, yes. Friendship had mocked me, yes. But in the ashes of betrayal and revenge, I'd built something they couldn't touch: clarity. Done doesn't mean broken. Done means reborn. And with that, I walked forward, leaving the past behind with the tide.